Hi, Franco. Hi, Katabi, Jay, John,
Hi.
Jess.
GM, everyone.
GM. All right, let's just wait a couple more minutes, then we can begin. Okay. Let's get started. Okay. All right, I want to share my screen. Welcome, everyone, to our weekly comms call. I'm excited to see what everyone is up to and hopefully help you all move along with everything that we're planning. So yeah, as we usually do, I'd like to start with intentions and distractions. I'll start with myself. My intention is to run this meeting successfully and to make sure that things are on track. Also, just to follow up on a few of the things that no one has taken on yet. So there's a few pending things that hopefully someone here can take on. So if you have any free time, I would appreciate it if you can help out with some of these pending things. And I'm not distracted. I'm just excited to be here. And let me pass it on to Suga.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I was away for a week. My niece died, and
Oh, sorry.
I don't know if, I don't think information gets shared like that, but just to let everybody know, I had to take a kind of sudden break. Thanks. I'm back now, and yeah, just today, so getting back in the swing of it, and my distractions are we got a kitten today, so that's nice.
Lovely.
Yeah, so I'll pass it to Sim.
Thanks, Suga. My intentions, just to check in on a few of the items and ask a couple of questions from the agenda on some of the topics that we've been chatting about previously, and just to give an update on how far I am with my project owners 101 course, and distractions. I just have to travel during this call, but other than that, not distracted. And I'll chat to, I'll pass it to Almond.
Hey everyone, my intentions for this call would be to align in the videos that are missing. For me to maybe jump in, help with the tutorials that we need to do. And also to share a little bit about the influencer / Twitter Spaces project that Cody, Ashley, Tim, and me talked last week. And my distractions, so it's making this kind of hard, but yeah, it's my distraction. I pass it to Amara. Who else is missing? Can I pass it to you, please?
Who wants to go next? Maybe Jake?
Why not? Thank you. Intentions for the call, always great to sync up with everybody on the communications team. Offer any feedback, offer any help that I can. Distractions, absolutely zero. Let's see who's next. Katabe.
Yes, thank you. That sticky button. My intentions, I wanna maybe bring something about Jake mentioned kind of like having a partnership draft, and I think some communications might be interesting there. So I just want to see what do you guys think? Yeah, And maybe another topic, but let's get into it later. No distractions.
Right, who do you want to pass it to?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Katia?
Yes, or Katia? Yeah.
So yeah, similar to everybody here, catch up on things, and no distractions right now, and just be really present for the call. And let me see, hold on. Who's not gone? Is it Franco? Have you gone? Franco.
Yeah, I can go. My intention for the call is just to catch up, listen up, talk about a little bit about Zodiac Wiki. That was something that I was working on last week. And distraction is that my audio seems to be not working like very well. So I'm getting all of you a little bit like choppy, but that's it. And I'll pass it to Jess. I don't know if you want.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you were the last one. Yeah, thanks, Jess. Sorry, like we usually save you for last, but it's like saving the best for last, so that's why. Anyway, nice to have you here, Jess. All right, welcome everyone. All right, so there's a few things that Corey mentioned here on the checklist. I'll just go through them, and then I'll also try to go over all of the stuff that everyone else mentioned here as well. So to start, we have this doc that Corey made earlier, which is basically just for people to say how much free time they have. And this is not really like to micromanage, but it's more just to see who's available, if anyone has any free time. So if you can fill this up and just let us know like what you're working on, or anything else, if you have a little bit of bandwidth, or if you like manage to take on some things in this call, you can mention that here. So yeah, it's like just to keep things simple, to like know if anyone has any free time, or if you don't have free time, if you have a lot of stuff that you're already doing, that's fine as well. But like just let us know so we can know if we could pass some things on to you or not. All right. Yeah, next up is the Zodiac Wiki.
Amat, just very quickly on that topic.
Yeah, sure.
I see that there are different tables. So is every table kind of like the weeks, like the table on top, these weeks table?
Yeah, so basically this is like a weekly thing to see like, oh, like this week I'm working on these, 5 or 6 things or whatever. So it's mainly like a weekly thing. It's not like an ongoing thing, like this is what you're doing forever. It's sort of like, this is what I'm doing this week, kind of.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so I think Franco said he wanted to catch up on the Zodiac, so let me pass it on to you, Franco.
Yeah, so I was taking a look at the Zodiac Wiki like websites, and I followed the contribution guide that they have in their sites, and I kind of like did like a planning and put some examples of what other people did, and I just pasted the link of the GitHub issue. So if anyone wants to like review it and say what they think about it, and if it's okay, I can like go ahead and post it.
Yeah, sure. Let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, if anyone has any comments, feel free to jump in, but maybe like we could just take like a minute and just see. Oh, hi, Suga. Yeah, what's up? Oh, yeah, Suga's volunteering. Okay, awesome. Cool. Thanks, Suga. Sorry, I think your mic wasn't connected, maybe.
Here we go. You can hear me. I don't know what was happening.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Oh, I just wanted to say, could you tag me, Franco?
Yes, of course. I'll tag you, Suga. No worries. Yes.
I want to.
Thanks, Suga. Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Uga.
How are you?
Yeah, this looks pretty good. Thanks so much, Franco. This looks like a good start. And yeah, I think you're in good hands if Suga is going to help you out with this. So yeah, I think this is on track. Awesome. All right.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, next up is the project owner's course. A few of you mentioned this as a priority. So as I mentioned on the call that we had earlier, we ideally want to ship this before everyone comes back from Burning Man. So ideally, we would want to finish this in the next couple of weeks. And I think everyone did make progress on this. So I just want to spend a few minutes on this just to make sure that nothing is blocked or no one has any thing that they're waiting on for anyone else. So this is the issue here. It's in a epic. It's 722. So yeah, so this particular one, we have 10 videos that we need to finish. And I think from what I've seen, we have at least 5 that people started recording, and we have 3 more that people started writing scripts for. So I think all of them were basically started. Almond recorded a really nice video for the project verification. I just left a few comments on that. And she also was going to take the success projects as well. So she was taking those 2. Yeah, so the project verification and success projects, and both of those are in the QA stage. So if someone wants to leave a comment on that, go ahead. Let's see. Yeah, and then any of these other ones, does anyone have a question about any of these videos that they already took, or does anyone need any support?
A question: how long generally are your scripts?
Yeah, so usually it's just a few bullet points. So it's just like, this needs to cover these 10 things. Some people might prefer to write down every sentence that they'll say. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, personally, I found it a bit easier if I just write down like, these are the 10 things that I want to mention in the video, just as bullet points. And then, you know, I would just mention those in my own words. So it depends on how you want to do it. Like, you could write a whole script if you want to, but you know, like the minimum just has to be just a few bullet points. Like, for example, if you look at, like, let's look at one of these as an example. I think the, yeah, there's one with the outreach. Yeah, I think this one, how to promote your project. This one already has the bullet points already. So like, this is, for example, like, I mean, we should mention that they need to add a detailed description of their project. They need to give regular updates. They need to mention their project to their own audience. If they're new to crypto, they should mention, you know, how we have a donor course. They should tag Giveth on Twitter with a link to their project so we can retweet them. And they should come to one of our weekly calls if they would like to tell people about their project. So like, this is just an example. I mean, it's not really a script. It's mainly just like this video has to cover these 5 or 6 points. And if everyone is fine with that, then, I mean, that's basically it. Then you can just start recording it. Wait, did we lose a few people? What happened? I think Sim dropped off.
Yeah, it looks like.
Oh, sorry, Sim. I didn't get to your question. Anyway, yeah. So that's basically it. Yeah. So it's just kind of like a bullet list. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Amal, I have a question.
Sorry, go on.
Thank you. Since you have like a big overview on what we're communicating to project owners, do you happen to know if we have information about how to best use Discord? Because I like, one of the things that I want to tell every project owner is just tag yourself as a maker, because there might be opportunities that we will share with you. And I don't know, are we saying that?
That's a good thing to add here. But no, we're not, like, as far as I know, we're not mentioning that anywhere. So I think that that would be something as well. So like, let me actually make a comment on this one. I'll also say, we should also, yeah, so also mention how to use Discord as a project owner to give themselves the maker role, you said?
Yes, yes, because we're sharing a lot of opportunities that that they will be tagged on.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, anyone else have a comment? I think Almond wanted to say something, right?
Yeah, only two really quick things. I saw the comments that you made to the script of the projects with different types of success. I can just like update the script to record that other video as well. I know that Corey already made the one about the policies. So I don't know if Corey needs help recording that as well. I'm going to check her to see if she's going to be able to do it, or if not, I can just like record both of those.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that you're good on video, so I think, yeah, like if you can help us, like we would really appreciate it. For sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Sorry, Sam, I think that you dropped off a bit earlier. I was just explaining how it doesn't need to really be a script. It's mainly just like bullet points, so kind of like this. So if you just mentioned like, yeah, like this video has to mention these 5 or 6 points, and then anyone can just add to it and say, oh, you know, by the way, also mention this. So for example, Kotabi just said, yeah, like I should also mention, you know, something about Discord as well. I mean, so it's mainly just that, like these are the things that we need to cover in the video. Sorry, she dropped off again. Anyway, no worries. You can go back and watch the recording, or yeah, if you come back, I'll go over it again. No worries. All right. Anything else on the video course? All right, awesome. Yeah, I mean, if anyone has any questions, I mean, I'll be happy even to have a meeting with you, or you know, if you have any questions, just send me a DM, and I'll be happy to follow up with you on that. All right. Next up is product releases. Yeah, so this is something that we actually do need support on. So if anyone here has a little bit of time, there are 2 things that we need to use our comms brain on, basically. So one of them is the project verification flow update, and the other is multiple addresses on the platform. So these are basically both platform updates where we need to mention something on comms about them. So by mentioning something on comms, it could be 2 things basically. Number 1 is we need to update this in our docs. That's the first thing. Second thing could be either a post for social media. So it could be like a tweet or it could be a video. So it's basically those 2 things. So we need someone to help us update this on the docs, number 1, and number 2 is have something to share on social media about this, which could be a video or just as simple as like a tweet. So yeah, so does anyone here have bandwidth to take those on? I mean, it's fairly simple because all of the content is already here. So like you don't really have to do much research or anything like that. It's mainly just, you know, taking what's here and, you know, putting it into docs and simplifying it in a way where we can share it on social media.
Like to make it a thread, do you mean?
Like a graph,
Twitter
you mean?
thread,
Sorry.
or
Oh
like
yeah,
you mean?
yeah. So it could be like a Twitter thread. So one way of doing it is it could be like a Twitter thread where you say, you know, we recently had a lot of new updates to our platform, and these are some of the updates. So it could be that, or it could be a video. So up to you. I mean, but I think that the main thing is it needs to be updated on the docs. Like that's probably like the most important thing. And then, you know, depending on if you think it makes sense, we could share it on social media. So some of this, for example, like some of the updates, it might not make sense to share this as a tweet on its own because, I mean, is like honestly, it might not be that interesting to a lot of people. But maybe if you like put it with something else, I mean, like you like maybe had this thing with this other one, and like you mentioned it as like these are some of the updates to the platform, and then like summarize it. That might be like a tweet thread, maybe. So yeah. I mean, it needs someone to think about this. Like, I don't have the answers, but it needs someone to look at these and figure out, you know, like what is the best way that we can tell our audience about this. All right. Any volunteers?
I can volunteer, like to take a look and maybe update the documents. Maybe I can do that. I'm not very good with Twitter though, so maybe Alman can do the Twitter thing and I can do the docs thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
I would love to help, but actually, I don't really get the updates. That I was just like checking. I'm seeing your screen, Ahmad, but I don't really get what are the updates. It says screenshot below of the new UX adding recipient address. So this means that they have now different addresses or not received the fund in any network. So what's the update there? Because I don't
So
really like.
so like these are basically just updates to the platform. So this platform, for example, or like this update is basically just saying that you can now send it to any other address. So like the address for the project could be different than where the funds are going, basically. So like you could have multiple addresses for your project.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, for sure, I can help.
And what's the other GitHub issue that you mentioned that you could like maybe combine? What's
Yeah, and
841?
the other one is it has to do with how projects get verified. So this has to do with explaining how ask users to provide the project name and the address again. Yeah, so like basically, this is just like a simplified sign up flow, basically. So like this just means that it's easier for them to sign up. So like this one, for example, I mean, I don't know if this would make sense to have as a tweet on its own, but like this one probably like 100% should be on the docs for sure, but yeah, I don't know if this would make sense just to share on social media on its own because, I mean, it's like only relevant if someone is about to sign up. So this one I'm not 100% sure on, but this one is useful for people that already have projects if they, you know, want to be able to send to a new address, basically. So yeah, so I mean, maybe it's like a simplified thing where like you could mention a few things like, oh, like these are some of the updates that we have. And I think that goes to another point that we have coming up, which is Twitter brainstorm. So like this is like things that we could post on Twitter. So like maybe that's something that we can come back to, like the social media side. But I would start off with just like the doc side. So like just like yeah, like make sure this is on the docs basically.
Matt, sorry, maybe this is a super dumb question, but what doc? Which docs do you mean?
Yeah. So like these are like the documentation that we have. So it's basically this. So docs.giveth.io. So this is basically like the wiki of Giveth, basically. So if anyone wants to learn, oh, how does like the app work, or if they got stuck on something, this is a place people come and they search, right? So like, for example, if someone wants to come here and they want to know, you know, how do I make a project? It'll say, this is how you make a project, right? How do you verify? Okay, this is how you verify, right? But this hasn't been updated with the latest thing. So like, that's why we need to come here and update these basically.
Perfect. Yeah, I was thinking on those, but I was not sure. So perfect. Thank you for answering.
No worries. Okay, so I'll just tag you on this, and then you guys can talk among yourselves if you want to work on this.
This is a good example of one of the content items that should go into that content process flow that we were talking about, with it going into your document that you created, Ahmad. Because then has it been tagged with the correct tag that would allow it to zap into that document? Because then if we do have a content planning session, which we should, then we would say this item would just need a tweet about it. We don't need to worry about doing a blog, but we need to tweet about it and update documents. Maybe updating documents also becomes an additional channel.
No, that's a good point. Let me tag both of these. So I just tagged both of them with the content tag. So that sheet should update soon, and then we can use that. Yeah, but that's a good point. But I guess, Sim, how do you think we should use that doc? Are you thinking to have like a meeting for it, or is it just like anyone that's posting should just keep looking at that doc?
Ideally, it would become one item on this meeting, on our weekly call, where it says, let's look at the content planning, and then every single thing from the whole organization that anyone's tagged with content would have pulled through there, and we say, okay, we can do a tweet thread for this, we need a blog for this, we need just Facebook and LinkedIn for this as well. Otherwise, we'll have to address each item individually on the agenda.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. So let me actually make like a content section on the notes, and then going forward, we can basically use this as, like our place to add these kind of things. So then we'll just take from that sheet, and then we'll do that. Yeah. So this is, for example, these two items here. So I'll just copy that here. Yeah. Then if anyone else has anything else that they think we should highlight this week, you can mention it here as well. Yeah, so while we're on content, is there any other content that you think we need to create or update besides these? Or I don't know, updates on things or articles or anything like that? Yeah, I guess, we could come back to that later on. Let's save that for the end maybe. But yeah, this is a good point to have everything here. All right. So next thing is for the newsletter. So I finished a draft for it. If anyone wants to have a look, I want to send this by tomorrow, so I can send it out by the end of this month. So yeah, Suga mentioned that she's going to review it today, so I really appreciate that. I want to send it out by tomorrow. So yeah, if you have any comments, please let me know on this. So that's the newsletter. Where are we? Yeah. So next up is, I was thinking about social media infographics. So we mentioned this last time, and I also gave you, some of you, access to Amplitude as well, which is basically this platform here, which lets you see some of the analytics. So for example, let me show you what it looks like for, if you want to see, for example, how many people donated, for example. So let me show you that. So I think that Mitch actually made some charts earlier for this. So if you're new to Amplitude, you could just come to these charts. And for example, here you can see how much was donated on Giveth. So for example, the last 30 days, you can see that $230,000 were donated on Giveth. So this is an example of some of the stuff that we could use on these infographics. So I mentioned some more things here. So I was thinking, and I wanted to run this by everyone here, is maybe we could do a weekly post about some of the stats on Giveth as an infographic, and we can have Rodri make it look really nice and just have a nice template where we have these kind of things. So we could mention in the last 7 days, how many people donated, what was the amount of the donations, what are the most active projects, how many new donors did we get, how many new projects were posted or verified. So I was thinking of doing that as an infographic and mentioning all these things. Yeah, but I wanted to see what everyone here thinks about that first as an idea.
I really like it. I think that we
Go
should have like different ideas for infographics. As I said that on the I think on the community call already. I have an idea for an infographic for the presentation, kind of like with the ideal journey of the donor, like from first doing a donation to later getting the givebacks, and then using these givebacks to kind of like become an impact investor on the projects again through Give Power. But so there was this infographic that was already made, and it's super good, but it's still quite complex. And I want to make something that looks like, okay, these are 4 steps, and boom, I'm an impact investor that donated on a project. What? Something like that. Getting an APR, or so. I think that the more that we have ideas, infographics are just a great tool to communicate things easily. Sorry, Sim.
That's perfect. That's a great idea. I agree that it's a really nice idea to show those. What happens in cases, though, if we've got a week of low donations, or we've got to think about, how we would manage the different situations if we're going to be setting up a cadence. Maybe every 2 weeks would allow us a little bit of buffer period if there's ever a moment where we just don't get any donations for one or other reason.
Yeah, I mean, we could sync it with the give back round also. So we could have it every 2 weeks, and like just say like in this last give back round, this is what the stats were. I mean, that might make it more interesting, I think.
Yeah. And then also add that the give back.
We could have stats. Yeah, exactly. Like stats on the give backs also. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. I think it'll be very motivational. And we can also listen to comments from people. Maybe they'll suggest what they would want to see as some other stats. Maybe it's how many, what the impact of the donations did, how many projects were affected, how many people were affected, if we can get that data.
Yeah, so I think Kotabi, that ties into like the GPS thing as well. So once we have more of like these GPS metrics, we could also mention those as well as social media, infographics, I guess.
Absolutely. Actually, Sim, if you have so all these metrics that you mentioned right now, and anything that comes to mind, if you can send something on Discord and tag me or DM, maybe just Discord, because then it will be more public and anyone can see it if it's useful. But that will also help. And can you tag me also in there, Amat, so that I basically I want to collect some metrics and also start figuring out where how to get this information whenever we need it and how to keep track of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a good idea. And then we can split between internal metrics and external metrics, because there'll be a whole bunch like these ones, what we want to put out externally, but there'll be a whole bunch internally, like website visits and conversions that people wouldn't ever be interested in.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's something that we still don't have a way to measure it, just to know that it will be useful to us. That will give us the incentives to start finding what are the best ways to measure it or to get some proxies on it.
No, for sure. That's a good point. I think one thing that Ashley mentioned last week was, I forgot to follow up on this, but she said that some of the people from Blockchain Learning offered to do infographics for us. So I need to follow up with them as well and see if they're willing to help with this. And like maybe they can take that one that you mentioned, Kotabi, about this like flow, or becoming a donor, like the funnel, basically.
About that, on the Give Economy research call, before Mitch left, he was kind of like showing what they did on a very complex topic about donors giving and then getting the givebacks. And I don't know if you have seen that one, but they made one and then Rodri made it more beautiful. And kind of like Mitch was feeling, well, I think that we can do this on ourselves because we actually have Rodri and design team for it. I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, it's also nice to have this team that is right now actually willing to help us out with this in a decentralized way. I know I also have to follow up with Mo because he wanted to kind of like create a resource to how to use Giveth branded material for external designers. So kind of like the centralized design, because of it can also be that they are not making such great infographics because they also don't have kind of like our branding
resources. Yeah.
All these resources. So I mean, at the end, this might be a bit of a longer term fix, but in general, I do think that if they want to help us right now, it's nice to kind of like follow up with that communication. But I think that the feedback that Mitch was saying was it took some time to kind of like back and forward on these infographics, and I think the result for him was kind of like, well, Roderick will have done this better, but they did have made all the idea of the infographic. Roderick just made it more beautiful. So I don't know. I mean, just I think different perspectives, but someone will need to take kind of like this relationship with them and say what are the ideas and so on and so forth.
So like, do you know if it's something that they offered to do for free, or were they looking for like, I don't know, like a bounty or something?
Mitch felt that, I mean, right now they were doing it for free, but eventually, I mean, they will kind of like charge for it, or that will be kind of like their end game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, let me talk to them, I guess, and just see. I mean, like thinking about it, they might be able to help us out more with this one, like the ones where it's just simple, like, oh, this is how many people donated. But then if it needs like a complex funnel with like, this is how you become a donor and give backs, that would probably need someone that's closer to the product, so probably Rodri would be a better person for that kind of thing, definitely.
Yeah, but I think their value proposition is actually that. So they want kind of like complex things that they can make simpler.
Interesting.
I don't know, but yeah, it will be nice, kind of like if you can talk with them and kind of like get your own vibe on it. I think that would be great.
Okay, I can. Let me take a note on this here. So I'll say here, talk to blockchain. Graphic. Okay, cool. All right, so I think we're done with this for now. One thing I wanted to ask anyone here is, does anyone else want to have access to this tool, Amplitude? I mean, it's a bit complex, but it gives you a lot of interesting information if you learn how to use it. Like, I mean, there's a lot of stats in here.
Quick question, because I got access, but I thought it was a little bit. I would love a walkthrough. Like, you think you could like, kind of like do a little like newbie intro to how to use this thing and how to get the like, I don't know if that would be possible.
Yeah, I kind of have to learn it myself. I'm not an expert in it yet, but yeah, like just to give you some quick tips. The first place I would start is to look at these charts that Mitch made. So if you go to, once you join, if you just go to view all spaces and then go to Mitch's charts, you'll see here, these are all the ones that he made. And there's some nice ones here. Like, for example, there's total donations made. This is a nice one to look at. There's new projects created. So for example, if you click on one of them, like total donations made, for example, on the left here, it tells you how this was made, basically. So this is telling you that this was created as like looking at the event of donations received and then filtering that by the value in US dollars. So like basically any data that you want to see, you just have to add it onto the event section here. So for example, if you wanted to look at something else, like I could look at, how much is it in Ethereum, for example, or what was the email of the people that donated, or what was the address, or any of that. But in this case, I'm just looking at, like what was the value of the donations that we got. So like that's what this section does here. So it lets you define basically what are the metrics. So that's what this does here. And then on the bottom here, this is where you can visualize it. So if you want to change how you view this bottom section, then there's a section here called properties. Then you just mentioned here that you want to measure it as a sum of the value, right? Which is, like basically just add them all together so you get like the total number here. You could also, for example, look at it as an average value as well, or like the median value if you want to see